Okay, we are back. This is PowerPoint Module 1, Video 2, and we left off, we just finished cropping the picture on slide 5. Now we are just about finished. We're going to go ahead and move yourself to slide 6, and we are going to convert this list of numbers into Smart Art. So Smart Art is a tool that is offered in Word and PowerPoint that basically takes your lists and puts them into kind of an art or a graphical representation. So sometimes people think that Smart Art is a little bit more visually appealing. Regardless, go ahead and click on the text box with the numbered list, and then on the Home tab, click Convert to Smart Art. And you'll see you have some choices here of how we can convert this numbered list to Smart Art. The one that it's asking us to select is the vertical block list, which is the second one in the top row. I'm going to go ahead and select that, and you can see how that makes our list just a little bit more visually appealing. Notice when you insert Smart Art and you click on it, a contextual tab pops up that's there to help you design and format your Smart Art. So go ahead and look at the design and then also the format tab, and you can see all of the different options that you have for filling in the boxes, the outline, adding effects to the text, and also to the rectangle shapes. But first, I want you to go to the Smart Art design, and it wants us to change the layout of our Smart Art one more time. So I'm going to go ahead and expand the layouts dropdown, and it's asking us to pick segmented, I can't think of the exact name of it, segmented process layout. So you may have to scroll over, hover over these. I'm trying to remember which one it is. I do remember, but I can't remember off the top of my head. It's called segmented process. I think it's this one. Yes, it's this one with the arrows, kind of towards the bottom. I'm hovering over it right now on the screen, and go ahead and click that, and it adds arrows to our Smart Art. Again, just adding a little extra to make the words in the list really stand out. Let's see, it also wants us to display the notes pane and then add a little bit of notes to this slide. So I remember I showed you earlier how to display the notes pane. It's on the status bar. If you just click on the button that says notes, it'll expand your notes pane, and then you can just click inside and type whatever notes that you would want to remember about this specific slide. I'm not going to do that step just in the order of time, but the book does tell you exactly what to type in the notes pane. All right, now let's go ahead and move ourselves down to slide 7. And this is our last slide. We are going to do some formats though for the contact information. We are going to also insert a picture of Anthony. So go ahead and click in the text box, the pictures command, and select the picture of Anthony and insert that. It does ask us to change the size of the picture and also to crop it a little, and also change the alt text. So instead of it saying alt text, a person wearing a suit, we would change the alt text to Anthony Scorsoni, which is the man's name in the picture. And again, you just click on alt text like we did before. It opens up the alt text dialog box, and you can delete what it said and put in what the book asks you to type. As far as cropping this picture, we want to crop it to an oval shape. So this is one of the really cool features where you can crop pictures to specific shapes. It's under the crop command, and you just say crop to shape and then select the shape that you want to crop to. So we're going to crop this to an oval, and then we're also going to hit just the crop button so we can get the cropping handles, the black handles around the outside of the picture. And it's asking us to crop so that the bottom middle cropping handle, which is this one down here, we drag it up 1 inch. So, and again, you can use those grid lines, right, to help you know what 1 inch is, because each grid line is 1 inch apart. Once you've got it cropped where you want it, if you just hit escape on your keyboard, it will remove the cropping handles. And then we can also remove the ruler and the grid lines button, and those are on the view tab. It's asking us to do a little bit of work to the font here where it says Contact Anthony Scorsoni. So I am going to highlight the text and make the list to 24 points. So I'm going to highlight it all, and I'm going to increase the font size to 24 points of font. Then in the first bulleted item, select his name, Anthony Scorsoni, and we're going to make that 28-point font, just to make his name stand out a little bit more. And then what else do I want to show you? There's one thing I want to show you that you may be asked to do. Notice if you're ready to add an extra line of text, for example, underneath cell, maybe you wanted to add office. I'm going to hit enter, and notice how it adds a little bit of extra space to the office number, right? You can kind of see see how email and then A. Scorsoni, they're very close together, or contact Anthony Scorsoni, sales manager, Houston office. They're very close together, those two lines. There's no additional space, but between cell and office, there is a little bit of extra space in between those two lines. So if you want to do what's called a hard return, or not have additional space in between your lines, you have to hold down Shift and then hit Enter on your keyboard, and that will make it so that second line is just right underneath of the first line. It's called a hard return. So I wanted to show you that as well. One other thing I want to show you is if I were to make this a bulleted list, so I highlight everything, I add bullets, and then I want to add a sub bullet or an indented bullet underneath of a previous bullet, all I would do is hit Tab, right? And I could make his office number like a sub bullet. Not that you would ever do that, but you could. If you hit Enter for your next line, it's automatically going to take your cursor directly under the bullet above it. And if you don't want to do that, what you have to do, if you want to move back out of level on your bullet, so my bullet is underneath cell or email or contact in that row of bullets or that line of bullets, you hold down Shift and hit Tab on your keyboard, and that will move you back out a level for the bullets. So if you end up with a bullet that's too far indented, hold down Shift Tab on your keyboard and it will move you back out a level. I think that's something that we talked about in the Microsoft Word unit, but I just wanted to go over that just in case. And then another thing, if you're planning on sending this via email and you don't want your file to be so large, sometimes PowerPoints with pictures and videos and all that can get very big, and sometimes that makes it very difficult for those to be sent via email. So if you want, you can compress your pictures so they're more suitable for email. And the way that you do that is you go to the Picture Format tab. Make sure you have one of your pictures selected, so that way your Picture Format tab will pop up. And then there's a command that's called Compress Picture. It's in the Adjust group. And you can click Apply only to this picture, or if you deselect that, it will apply to all of the pictures in your PowerPoint slideshow. And you want to click the one that says Email 96 ppi, minimize document size for sharing, and say OK. And that will compress all of the pictures in your slideshow, so it makes it more manageable when you're emailing them. All right, last thing, make sure you check your spelling and grammar. And that can be found on the Review tab where you have your ABC check button. That's always really important. Obviously, it's flagging his name. Typically, you'll see the red or blue underlines to flag your attention to spelling and grammar errors, but sometimes we miss those. So it's still important that you click on the spelling and grammar button and kind of work through, like right here, we have a liability is spelled incorrectly, so I'm going to go ahead and change that. It looks like emphasize is spelled incorrectly, so I'm going to change that. And now my spelling and grammar check is complete. Make sure you save the changes that we made in this program. And a couple of options for printing. I want to show you that as well. So if you go to File, Print, you can see you have some options, and it gives you a live preview on the right of what it's going to look like when you print. So right now it's going to print one slide per page in color. A way to save colored ink if you don't need to print everything in color is to change it from color to grayscale. That will really save you a lot of ink. And then another thing that you can do is instead of printing full page slides, print one slide per page, that takes up a lot of paper, especially if you have a large presentation. You can print one slide or two slides or three slides or 6 slides per page. So you can kind of play around with it where you have multiple slides on one page in grayscale. You can see how that would save you a ton of paper if you needed it to. You can also, depending on your printer capabilities, you can print it front to back instead of one-sided, so you can change up some of your printer settings as well to save paper and to save ink if you are going to print your PowerPoint slides. Okay, so I think that concludes our PowerPoint Module 1. There were 2 videos in this, and this is the conclusion of video 2. Thank you.